Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. I want to welcome all of the new subscribers and also all of you that have joined the memberships. Welcome. It is a pleasure to have each and every one of you, and thank you for your time. This channel is pretty much anything and everything fiber arts related, and then some. There's occasional different stuff that happens. There's some new things that will be added this year, as well as continuing with stitch tutorials, pattern tutorials, and just spinning and weaving and needle tatting and Tunisian crochet and all those type of things that happen here on the channel. You can check out the playlist. There's all kinds of different stuff. Sundays is just basically a recap of what I've been up to over the week, and as well as just kind of any type of information that is either upcoming or, events and things like that on the channel. On my Sunday podcast, there is a slideshow at the end. So those that have shared their work to be put into the slideshow, it's at the end of our Sunday video. And then after that, I do a channel memberships credits. And everybody that is a member as of the day that I record my Sunday podcast, those are the members that will show up in those credits. Also, down in the description box below, there is a whole list of everybody that is a member. Right. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is our tutorial-based educational style, those type of videos. They may be my own patterns. They might be stitch tutorials, and I try to keep them mixed up a lot as far as the stitch tutorials, because not everybody crochets, not everybody knits, not everybody does Tunisian crochet, so I kind of keep a little bit of a mix going on when I do stitch tutorials, as well as my own patterns. Some things are crocheted and Tunisian and needle tatted and knitted, and sometimes even on the Addy. You never know what it's gonna come out the next video will be. But Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a live spin and chat where I spin yarn and we sit around and chit chat. Most of the time I'm spinning yarn and I'm usually doing singles on an electric spinning wheel. On my Ashford electric spinning wheel. And then there's the occasional time where I may be plying it together on my Bluebonnet Bumblebee manual spinning wheel. I may be using one of my older flax wheels or something of that nature. It varies, but pretty much the majority of the time, so I can interact with the chat, I'm using an electric spinning wheel. So on that subject, what have I been up to this past week? I have done some spinning and some plying and just kind of a little bit of mix match of things. We'll go over them, starting with the spinning. This past weekend, week, should I say, I finished what I had started Thursday before last. Thursday before last, during the live, I was spinning, and I will insert a picture here. Now, this is a one-of-a-kind hank. It is purchased, and it is already getting ready to be out the door and gone. I blended a bunch of different floofs of fiber that I had on the blending board, spun it into a single, and then I spun the same amount, just a little thicker, of black merino, and then plied the two together, and this is what we have. Now it is super sparkly. It's a lot more sparkly in person than you see there, but you can see that there is all of those really cool colors in there. Now I had a small braid of some purple that I had got to spin, and this is it here. There is a strand in here of regular yarn, and I'll explain that in just a moment. That's what I ended up with. It's just a 2-ply, and there's close to 100 yards here. This is a gift to someone. So the strand of yarn, if you purchase something like this from me or it's gifted to you and you come across a strand of regular yarn, that strand of yarn is tied to one end of, like, the starting end of me hanking it, and it's tied to the very end of me hanking it. So the ends didn't meet together, and generally speaking, you would just go back and remove the excess until your ends meet. But with that being said, this is such a small amount. What I wanted to do was make sure that the person receiving this would get every last bit of this yarn. So what I did was I just tied a strand from one end to the other end. And that way there was no removing any. And she gets it all. So that's why if you run into a situation where you have received yarn from me and there is a strand of yarn, generally it's a one-of-a-kind hank of yarn and the ends didn't meet, so I made them meet by adding a piece of regular, just manufactured yarn. So that's the answer to that. I just want you to have it all and not have any of little bits and pieces of it laying around. And there it is. So that hopefully will explain, if you receive something like that from me, why. So that is the spinning that I had done over the week. And then I started a new bobbin. Here it is. Now this is just an acrylic polyamide and wool blend. This is Chunky Twist from Hobby Lobby. It is a single spun strand of yarn, so it actually does have twist to it, but not so much twist to it that it's not easy to turn it back into roving and spin it. So my goal with that is to spin this whole entire thing and see how many yards of a usable yarn, something more along the lines of this size, that I get from that great big thing of yarn. So that is what I'm working on with that. Update on the hanks of yarn that I was talking about in the last podcast that I would be putting up for sale, and that if there was any lingering, I would put them in the community tab. There's none left. Once I go through more of my cupboards, there'll probably be some more yarn for sale. Hand spun yarn. We'll see. I have a few that I'm looking at right now that I may potentially add in to the for sale ones. Not sure yet. So that's on the spinning. That's what I've been up to as far as the spinning. I did do several tutorials for stitches, but I ripped those swatches back out sometimes, so I don't have any of them to show you. I'm working on, and I'm almost done with the cross stitch for my granddaughter. I'm only down to like 2 colors left. And I also have a finished, it's like scrap throw, and it was knitted. And the reason I call it scrapped is because I repurposed yarn from a crocheted Afghan that I made years ago. And I ripped it out and salvaged the yarn, and for the most part, I used a bunch of it in this, and there's still a ton of it left. But I will step back so you can see it. Let's see. It is very wide. It starts with, there is a edging on each side that looks like that. It's a green camo on the top. And then I have cables right here, a big section, and then cables right there that go from top to bottom. Now it goes all the way down, and here's the bottom. So I finished that, and that's as big as I wanted to make it. I was pretty much done. I'd been working on it for a couple of years, just letting it sit, and then I'd work on it some, and then I'd let it sit, and then I'd work on it some type thing. And I'm working on trying to finish up some of those bigger projects that I have laying around. So every so often you may see a new big object that I finished. It's something I've been working on for quite some time. But that is it for me. And I hope that each and every one of you have had a wonderful week. I love seeing your photos. Thank you for sharing your work with the rest of us. We're going to go right on into our slideshow. Be blessed, be a blessing, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.